Justin Trudeau recently announced that he was going to freeze all gun sales, imports, buying, trades, etc. And this plan so far has backfired. All the stores were crazy. Justin Trudeau's gun crackdown sparks handgun panic buying ahead of the freeze on sales. Conspiracy theory time, my friends. I think that all of these Democrat, leftists, Canadian liberal types, they're secretly very pro-gun. No, just hear me out. You see, they know that if they come out and feign wanting gun control or proposing things that will never be made into law, they will create a boon for the gun industry. That's right. You see, Justin Trudeau, he's sitting there with his buddies who work at all the gun factories, and they're like, we need to increase sales. And he's like, I'll come out with some insane gun control policy, and then everyone will buy guns. I'm kidding, by the way, but that seems to be the result. So if I thought these people were smart, that's the only conclusion I could come to. Considering I don't think these people are smart, then yes, they just keep doing things that blow up in their faces and backfire. Now, Canada may pass this bill C-21, and if you live in Canada, it means they're effectively banning handguns. I mean, you can have one, but you can't make one, you can't import one, you can't sell, you can't transfer, you can't buy. So what do you do to get one? You don't. If you have it, you can have it. If you don't have it, too bad. Whenever they say things like this, gun sales go through the roof. So let's talk about what's happening in Canada. But let's also talk about this House bill for a 1,000% tax on assault weapons. In this context, when they say assault weapon, they mean literally every single gun except pump action shotguns and revolvers. And I guess technically a bunch of other, they're basically saying anything semi-auto. So anything that's one trigger pull, one bullet, that's what they want to tax at 1,000%. Yeah, that will make crime substantially worse. However, I got to say the funny thing is it's going to make gun owners extremely wealthy. Can I just point that out? Imagine you go to the store and you buy a gun, then they pass this. You just gained $5,000. Not that I know if you'd be able to sell it to anybody, but that gun's going to become extremely valuable. Now, this is insane and unconstitutional. Of course, we've seen similar things with the National Firearms Act. So we'll talk about that. But let's talk about Justin Trudeau's failed attempts or intentional act of getting people to buy guns. The Daily Mail reports gun stores across Canada are reporting booming business after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that he was introducing a freeze on all new sales of handguns. Trudeau on May 30th said he was introducing a national freeze on handgun ownership. He added, in other words, it will no longer be possible to buy, sell, transfer, or import handguns anywhere in Canada once this bill becomes law. The bill, C-21, needs to be passed by the House of Commons and the Senate and is expected to become law by fall. They think it will pass? I mean, that's crazy. Owners of gun stores are reporting a surge in sales as customers who have obtained their licenses rush to buy guns before the law is enacted. We thought there would be a bit of a run on handguns, but we didn't expect this, said J.R. Cox, who owns and operates the Shooting Edge ranges in Calgary and Toronto. All the stores in Calgary were just crazy, he told the Global News. I watched a video after Justin Trudeau announced this, and it was of a man fighting a moose. He's on a snowmobile up in the middle of nowhere, Canada, and he gets attacked by a moose. Now, hey, the moose attacked him. It's a sad video. It is. I don't like seeing anybody get injured or hurt by a weapon, all right? Let alone a moose. Granted, I have much less sympathy for the moose than I do a person, but, it's hard to say, right? When you watch a video of a person who's intentionally trying to harm or kill another person and someone defends themselves, you're like, good on them for defending themselves. Same is true for the moose. I feel bad for the moose because the moose is dumb. But anyway, this guy's on a snowmobile and a moose is walking towards him and he's like, whoa, 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 back up, back up. And the moose runs up and does like a hoof thing. And then the dude he then pulls out his gun when the moose backs up. The moose starts going at him again, and then he fires once. The moose keeps running. He goes pop, 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 pop. He put that moose down. It's kind of sad to see. It's sad to see, But this is why people need weapons. I watched another video. This one was scary. It's a guy in a forest. And he's walking backwards saying, nice bear, and there is a bear walking towards him. Now, this dude is slowly walking backwards, and I believe it's a black bear, which is like, when it's a black bear, you got to fight. Fortunately, this dude had bear spray. But I was just thinking, like, what would you do in that situation where the bear is desperate, starving, or angry? So, after a few minutes, the bear rushes him. He sprays a little bit of the bear spray, and the bear runs off. Because the bear was just probably hungry, probably looking for scraps. Didn't seem to be attacking the guy, but got dangerously close. Imagine you are out, like half the country, in the middle, in rural areas where there are wild animals. And it's crazy when people are like, nobody needs an AR-15. Good luck stopping a bear that's attacking you and your family with a handgun. I suppose if you had like a desert eagle, you might do some damage, but I don't even know about that, to be honest. I know, I'm not an expert on this stuff, on guns. And I'm not even convinced. I think a 5.56, like your typical standard AR-15, is going to be able to save you from a bear. Handgun, maybe not so much. There was a story I read about a grizzly that when they finally found it dead, it had a whole bunch of like 45s and like 9mm rounds lodged in its skin because these weapons they're not particularly effective on bears. It's crazy stuff, man. Now, anyway, I bring that up because Canada has a lot of rural area up north. They're big animals. Someone once said to me, how do they defend themselves from polar bears? And I'm like, yo, I don't think that's an issue, to be completely honest. Polar bears aren't coming down near the habitable areas of Canada. Justin Trudeau tweeted, One Canadian killed by gun violence is one too many. That's why we've banned 1,500 types of military-style assault firearms. And that's why today we've introduced legislation to further strengthen gun control in Canada. Thread. Yeah, these are evil people. These are deeply evil people. We know that gun laws don't stop the crime. We know that putting up a sign saying no guns allowed doesn't stop criminals. We know this. It doesn't seem to change these things. These people just want to disarm you. Several gun stores in British Columbia province saw lines out the door within hours of Trudeau's announcement. You get a lot of people that as soon as they announce new gun control measures, everyone wants to go in and buy a gun, said Dan Shemley, warehouse manager of Great North Precision Canada, which sells firearms in Kelowna, BC. Shemley told CBC's news show Daybreak South that handgun sales make up roughly 10 to 15% of the store's business. But the store was now chaotic, with licensed firearm operators racing to get what's left in stock. Other shops across Canada said they sold out within days. Sales have been brisk, said Jen Levine, co-owner of that hunting store in a strip mall in the outskirts of the capital of Ottawa, nestled between a barber shop and a Chinese buffet restaurant. We sold 100 handguns, or almost our entire stock in the last 3 days, since the Prime Minister announced the freeze, she said, showing off her nearly empty handgun cabinet. Yeah, I think they know what they're doing. I do believe the handgun sales are intentional. Here's what they do. They announce it. Everybody buys everything up. Then they shut it down. Because think about what would happen if they announced the legislation as they were passing it. What are these gun stores going to do with a bunch of guns they can't sell? It would destroy their businesses. So they want everyone to buy them first. Well, let's take a look at what's happening here in the United States. House bill for 1,000% tax on assault weapons to be filibuster-proof. Buyer. Deeply unconstitutional, in my opinion, but they may try and pull this off. Representative Donald Byer, a Virginia Democrat, is seeking to introduce a 1,000% tax on assault weapons. Oh, man, don't you just love it? Okay, let's talk about that. You want to use assault weapon as close as it can possibly use to the actual term assault rifle? Fine. They're already banned under the NFA. Basically, you need a tax stamp, fingerprinting, and they've already done this. But when they say assault weapon now, they're spitting in your face and laughing at you because their definition of assault weapon is standard handgun. Glock 17. You know the standard issue weapon used by police officers? Just a pistol, right? It's as standard as they come. It's very common. That's an assault weapon to these people. They say they would do it through reconciliation that would not require any Republican votes. The congressman said the bill is meant to discourage Americans from buying deadly weapons that have been used in frequent mass shootings across the country. In the past 3 weeks alone, shootings in New York, California, Texas, and Oklahoma have left dozens of adults and children dead. Yeah, and the majority of mass shootings are handguns, and they're in Democrat cities. So these Democrat cities are being raised by their own failed policies and failed leadership. So they want to come to you, good sir, who lives in, I don't know, West Virginia, and take away your guns. Quote, what it's intended to do is provide another creative pathway to actually make some sensible gun control happen, Beyer told Insider in an article published Sunday while discussing his proposal. We think that a 1,000% fee on assault weapons is just the kind of restrictive measure that creates enough fiscal impact to qualify for reconciliation. Reconciliation is a tactic that can allow laws to bypass the Senate's filibuster. Under this process, a law can pass with a simple majority, so long as every Democratic lawmaker supports it. Democrats used this strategy last year to approve a COVID-19 relief package and the House approved Build Back Better bill. One expert told Insider that Beyer's measure could meet the threshold of bypassing the filibuster because taxes get more deference in budget reconciliation than other policies from a parliamentarian point of view. However, the bill would still likely face significant hurdles, even among Democrats. Multiple lawmakers have previously proposed tax hikes on guns and ammunition in an attempt to drive down sales, but have been unsuccessful. Beyer's proposal also marks a much more significant tax increase than Democrats have targeted in the past. The bill would only focus on assault weapons, such as AR-15s, but would not include a tax increase on bullets. However, any high-capacity magazines that can carry more than 10 rounds of ammunition would be aggressively targeted, according to Insider. Full stop. Once again, the media is trying to trick you. I want you to understand this. For those that don't have guns, and for those that have friends and family who ask about this, this is Newsweek spitting in your face and then telling you, no, that's fine. That's normal. We always do this. They're pissing on you and telling you it's raining. The Glock 17, the magazine that fits into that, not an extended mag, a regular Glock 17 rounds, 9mm, 17. That is more than 10. They are saying that that weapon would be an assault weapon. When you go to the store and you get this weapon stock, it holds 17 rounds. Now, you can get extended magazines for these weapons. I have one, and it's like a really long, in West Virginia, of course. For some reason, people think that just because we do work in the tri-state, like we're not in West. No, all my stuff is in West Virginia. Everything is legal. We have larger magazines for handguns where it actually sticks out a bit further than normal. As for an AR-15, chambered in 5.56, 30 rounds is standard. 10 is tiny. And all these weapons come with 30. That's what they're built for. So when they say high capacity, they are tricking you. AR-15, by all means, they can say, we want to reduce standard capacity to 10 rounds. Fine. But they're lying when they say high capacity. They say AR-15 style guns can range in price from $500 to $1,000. Wrong. I recently bought an AR-15 and it was like $2,000. It's very, very nice. A very nice one. Meaning that a 1,000% tax increase could add $5,000 to $10,000. Yeah, if you get a really nice, I think, what was it, the Daniel Defense one was like $1,800. So you're talking about adding $18,000 to the price. Only rich people will be armed. I mean, that's the way they've wanted to go for some time, right? Nancy Pelosi can have armed security detail, but you can't have any guns. There's nothing magical about that 1,000% number. It's severe enough to actually inhibit and restrict sales, but also successful enough that it's not seen as an absolute ban. Yes, it is. There's no way a working class person will be able to buy a gun. You can get, I don't know, a 38 special revolver, maybe for a couple $100. Oh, now it's going to cost you $2,500. Yeah, no gun for you. Fortunately, good people are advancing and developing 3D printed guns to prevent despots and tyrants from spitting in your face. Well, they can still spit in your face, but you will be able to leave, wipe the spit off, and say, I can do this at home. Now, Joe Biden wants to ban ghost guns and 3D printed guns. You can't. You can make a 3D printed gun illegal, but you ain't stopping someone from making one. It's just not possible. 3D printers cost a couple $100. And you can make a 3D printed gun. His proposal comes as Democrats and Republicans continue to spar for legislation, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Look at this. An earlier version of this article misstated the potential price increase from the proposed tax. How much more carnage are we willing to accept? How many more innocent American lives must be taken before we say enough? Enough, the president said in an impassioned speech. It's time to act for the children we've lost. They know they're lying to you. They do. Let me make it simple. All of these crimes that are being committed by people who are doing things that are they're legally buying weapons. They're getting background checks. They're finding money somehow. And then they're committing a crime. For some reason, putting up a sign saying gun free zone hasn't stopped these people from walking past it with guns. We were talking the other day about a meme video where it's two MS-13 gang members. And one person's like, hey, do you want to go, do that gang shootout? And he's like, no, I didn't get my gun permit yet. These people are getting guns illegally. And there is nothing you can do to stop it. I mean, let's be real. The U.S. government is giving guns to a lot of these people, Well, over in New York, stronger gun control measure into law. It's really amazing that this Kathy Hochul, whatever her name is not even an elected representative. That's what's really creepy. She's just there signing away, taking away your rights. The state raised the age Monday from 18 to 21 for people to buy semi-automatic weapons and bolstered the reporting requirements. That means like a Ruger 1022. 22 bullets are small. They're dangerous. Yeah, sorry. You're 18 years old. You can vote. You can join the military, but you can't own a weapon. Absolutely insane. The bills approved by the legislature last week make up the most sweeping package in the nation in the wake of the shooting deaths, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they try and take you by the back of the head and smash your face into the ground and say, feel that pain? So you go, yes, it's bad. They want to rip out your heart. They want to punch you in the gut and make you look at these news stories where, of course, people are emotionally stricken, and then use that anger, that panic, that fear, that guilt to make you give up your rights. They say, look what this one criminal did. You don't deserve human rights. That's what they say to you. These people are genuinely evil. Here's what I really love. VP of Brady United Gun Control Group says GOP will be rewarded at polls if it votes for safety legislation. Safety legislation. Ladies and gentlemen, gun control is losing. Gun rights are being expanded. Now, in many states, gun control advocates are getting what they want, but nationwide, here's what I'm waiting for. Right now, the Supreme Court has before it a case, I believe they haven't ruled on it yet, about New York denying concealed carry permits. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lawsuit over the 21 age increase, 21 years old. But already, there's a court case. In New York, if you want a concealed carry permit, you need to give a reason. And no matter what your reason, they basically just deny you. The same is true for Maryland and New Jersey. Now, if you're rich and famous, you're usually allowed to get it. Security guards are allowed to get limited capacity carry permits in Maryland, so you're allowed to bring it to and from work if you're a security guard. Police obviously can carry. Now, if you are regular, let's say you're a woman in Maryland and you have an abusive ex and he threatens to kill you. You go to the state and say, I need a concealed carry weapon. And they'll say, why? Oh, because someone threatened to kill me. Too bad. And they throw it in the garbage. It is called a no issue in practice state, even though they claim to be a may issue. New York is similar, New York City. I believe it's New York City. They'll say, what's your reason? And no matter what you say, they say no. If you're rich and famous and a celebrity, they'll be like, okay, you're special. We don't got to worry about you. You're famous. The Supreme Court case could result in a broad ruling on nationwide constitutional carry. Bring it on. Supreme Court, do what's right and give us the broad ruling. Strike down all of these unconstitutional gun laws. At a state level, we're looking at 25 states that are constitutional carry. Florida's had to be the 26th. If the Supreme Court issues a broad ruling and they say any permitting of a person, the person keeping and bearing arms is an infringement upon their right, that means everywhere you can keep and bear arms. Concealed. Now, I don't think they'll do it. That's a lottery winning, scenario. What'll likely happen, in my opinion, is a narrow ruling in favor of gun owners in New York. And they'll say that they'll issue something like New York must create a path for concealed carry. We saw something similar in Illinois a long time ago. They banned guns, and then ultimately they were told, like, you can't do that. It was, I believe it was DC versus Heller in 2008, where all of a sudden all these states were forced to comply and allow people to keep and bear arms, but they can still put a bunch of restrictions on how you get them and, things like that, what the guns can have. I want to see in this Supreme Court ruling a broad ruling that says requiring a permit to carry a weapon is an infringement upon your right to keep and bear arms. Then, in every state, you can carry your weapon. I would like to see further. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see the Hail Mary absolute broad ruling of any legislation restricting accessories, magazine size, and concealment or requiring of permits is an infringement upon the right to keep and bear arms. I just want to see them basically just abolish all gun control legislation. That's not going to happen. At the very least, I think what will happen is they'll say states must issue permits. You can't deny people for arbitrary reasons. And so this would force every state to become a shall issue. So you'll still have to apply. It'll still take you 3 months, but then you'll get your permit and you can carry. What I'd like to see happen is constitutional carry. This means the states will still be able to ban certain weapons, but you can carry them openly. That, I think, would be best. We'll see. It's coming up soon. This month, we should find out. We've also got the Roe v. Wade thing coming, so that'll be fun. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.